radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. Today's Wednesday, July 31st, 2019. 211 days left, or 211 days into the new year. 154 days left. We're live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? All right. Let's get this show cracking. Tonight, very special guest, Kimberly Meredith is here. Very excited to finally have Kimberly on the show. We've waited too long. Tonight's the night. Tomorrow night, another Fader night with open lines all night long. You know what to do. You know the number. Okay? All right. That'll be tomorrow night. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do, at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2B. The sandbox. Yeah, we don't bite. All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kimberly Meredith is here. Tomorrow night, Fader night. That's right. Open lines all night long. So get ready for that. Tonight, it's Kimberly. Kimberly Meredith bridges the gap between God and science. She's a medical intuitive, a trance channeler, a psychic surgeon, hands-on healer, and a spiritual teacher. Blessed with a unique array of extraordinary healing and psychic abilities, Kimberly is one of the world's most gifted medical mediumship healers and foremost spiritual speakers. She channels messages through her eyes, blinking codes as a tool of communication from God, Mother Mary, ascended masters, and angels. Kimberly has also been featured in numerous publications, including Thrive Global, the New York Daily News, New Life Magazine, Whole Life Times Magazine, and on the front covers of Awareness Magazine and the Life Connection Magazine. Her website is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on it. It is thehealingtrilogy.com. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Kimberly Meredith. Kimberly, good evening. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy. Nice to be here.
Thank
you for having me here.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kimberly. And this is the good news. Well, of course, you're going to be on the show, and we're going to have a great conversation. But the good news is you get the first-time guest disclaimer. And this is what it is. You ready? See, don't be nervous. This is the first time guest disclaimer. Kimberly, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. There you go. See?
That's nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we've been wanting you, on the show for many years, and we've talked, and we just couldn't get the stars and the moon to align, but we finally got it done. Welcome to the show. You ready to go?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Let's start here because we talk a lot on the show about science. We talk a little bit about God and religion, but we talk about channeling, and we talk about psychic phenomena, and we talk about healing, and we talk about spirituality, and all of this to me is starting to combine with what science is researching and what they are working on. And the line is starting to get blurred. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. But before we get there, when you were growing up, you must have started to see some things about you that were a little bit different than everybody else. Is that what happened? And when did it happen?
Yeah, that's exactly what was going on. As early as 6 months. I feel like it was early as 6 months, 7 months old. It was happening, and then it was going on up until about 8 years old.
What?
And then it went on. Yeah.
Yeah. What was going on? What was happening?
When I was a little baby, like crawling, I was blinking a lot, excessive blinking, as an infant. And I also was looking at my hands were different. They were like hot all the time. And I was always kind of obsessed with putting my hands on animals that were very sick. And I was always putting my hands on my grandmother that had asthma. And she would feel better after I would rub my hands on her throat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really close to my grandmother.
And so she felt better. Now, and this is what's great about that. Did she zero in on what was going on? Because that means you got the attention of your grandmother, which is really cool, right? There's that part of it. But was your grandmother seeing what was going on and needed you to help her feel better?
Yes, my grandmother did, and my grandfather, this is my paternal side, was kind of obsessed. He bought a camera. I think it was like an old, 8mm camera, and he would follow me around and take films of my blinking of my eyes.
Right.
He thought it was unusual, the blinking. But on the other side of things, my mother, she didn't like the blinking.
Now, when I first heard about the blinking, this was a while ago, and you and I, we've met a few times, and yeah. I was like, don't look, but I didn't see any blinking. But what I didn't want to do was get caught looking, right? I didn't, because people must do that. Do they do that?
When I first got the gifts, because I had, to go back to being a child, I forced myself to stop the blinking when I was around 8. And then after to answer the question, it's sometimes the blinking is stronger when I'm trancing, doing my work, and then just normal life, the blinking is lighter when but I'm always trancing.
Right.
I'm always in trance, and
right.
It is blinking, but it's lighter blinks when I'm not in strong trance.
So if you are around me or somebody, but if you're around me,
yes.
and I catch you blinking, are you reading my mind? Are you checking me out? Are you seeing something?
That's very interesting. I'm always trancing. I'm always in trance. It's not like I'm going to be like, do I have telepathy? Is that what you're asking?
What because I want to know what's going on. Yeah, with you at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I do have some sort of. It's not like I'm scanning to see if you have cancer, but I can do that. I can scan someone in a minute and a half and know if they have cancer without them being in my office.
Right.
But I do know I can. It's not like I want to read your mind, but I can know if a soul is good or bad immediately when I walk into a room. I can sort of scan somebody like that. Yes, I can.
So I passed the test. Did I pass the test?
Yes, you have.
That's why you're on the show.
You passed the test.
Yes. But I find that fascinating. And did you have to?
They just gave 3 blinks confirmed.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Is now as you're going on through life, and you know that you're trying to physically control this so people don't, see it. There's that part, but also you have to hang out with friends and people. And did you find yourself, trying to control this?
Well, after the NDE, when it started to happen, I was excited that it returned because it had left for many years. And then now, where I'm at now in my life, I have it. Yes, I have it under control, more in control. Yes. And
that was you are an intuitive. That's exactly where I was going next. Is the NDE, and I'll let you tell us what happened. I have had so many conversations here on the show with different people that have gone through their experiences, and each one of them I have found has been nearly individual. You know what I mean? Everyone is just a little bit different, the same, but a little bit different. So what happened with you?
Well, the blinking left when I was a young kid, and then after, I forced it to leave, and then I had a near-death experience in 2013 where I had a blunt head trauma, hit by a car, went into the hospital, and I lost my blood pressure, everything, my kidneys went out, and I went to the other side, and it was horrific experience. I left my body, saw myself from above, looking down at myself. I was just flat, went all the way out, and it was beautiful, being on the other side, and lovely and amazing to be lifted, and the angels, and I can't really explain it even. It was so calming and soothing and amazing. At the same time, my accident is quite different because when I got hit on foot and with a concussion, a severe concussion to the head, I didn't go in the hospital right away. I wanted to work. I was on a movie working as a medical consultant at the time, so I didn't go in right away. So I was for several weeks suffering from a severe concussion until I completely collapsed on Christmas Eve. At the time, I was living with my boyfriend, who was sort of like very, very close. We were thinking of getting married. He brought me into the emergency room to backtrack. They said it looked like I was going into kidney failure. I was very dehydrated beyond, and then that's when I went into flatline. Mm-hmm. And then so my experience is that it was just beyond, just amazingly lifted. But at the same time, I saw myself above myself, looking down on myself when they were trying to revive me. And all I remember is I kept hearing, you're going to go back and you're going to stay here and you're going to help people. And I didn't really understand what that was because you don't really know I don't know other people's stories, but to me, I didn't really know that was called an NDE. I didn't know that was what was really going on with me at the time. I just remember I was very relaxed, very calm and comforted, and it was just beautiful and loving and serene. And I just felt floating over myself. But when I looked down at myself, it was just very chaotic. But it was so fast, so flashing. And I remember seeing a lot of angels, like angels meaning like faces, but I also saw some skeletons and darkness too. So it was very fast and flashing. And it was like good and bad. So it was like very interesting effect. And then when I woke up, I was in a lot of pain. It was like very, very, very hard when I woke up. And I felt a lot of bright light across my eyes and a dark ball of light on my chest. And I was experiencing the Holy Spirit, which is, to me, the energy of God, the omnipresent. And I still felt the omnipresence speaking to me when I woke up. And there was a lot of, blood all over, and it was just pushing down on my chest, the energy of God. And I remember saying to myself, like, and the inner consciousness of me saying, get off me. Like, get off me. Like, I wanted the energy to leave me alone. Leave, just to leave me.
Sure.
But the energy was through my eyes, and it was very bright, and it was just like beyond. I can't even explain how it was so interesting to go through. So then it was just the story was just beginning to happen.
Well,
so
before
many months later, I'm in the.
Well, let me jump in. Actually, Kimberly, I'm going to very rudely interrupt you. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
Which is, let's kind of stop right there for a second. You later found out how long you had flatlined for. How long were you on the other side?
I have no idea. I maybe a few minutes. I don't know. I don't even know.
Oh, the doctors didn't tell you? They didn't say?
I've got it somewhere. Yeah, I have it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think very long. Yeah.
Okay, so a few minutes.
Yeah.
How long did it
Not
seem
even
to
that,
you? Yeah. Right. How long did it seem to you?
It didn't seem very. It seemed like maybe 3 or 4 seconds.
Right.
It didn't seem very long. Yeah.
That's amazing. And to have all of these visions and the things that you had seen, that's a lot of information coming at you in such a short span. And that's what I want to get to here. So you also said, you used the word horrific, right? That it wasn't all fun and games. Like, you saw light and rainbows and light at the end of the tunnel and angels and I came back and it's all good. You used the word horrific and skeletons and things. That's not cool either. What was that?
No, it was a duality.
Yes, it's total duality. Absolutely. That's exactly what it was. Why show this? I mean, what's your assessment now? Why see both sides? And I've never heard anybody describe what you're describing now, by the way.
But I think I was seeing a duality of heaven and hell, and I think it was like, this is what they wanted me to see, and then they're telling me I had to come back to do the work, because when I came back, I had no feeling in my legs. I felt my legs were shaking, they were trembling. The doctors were telling me I wasn't going to walk again. And I didn't walk for several months. I was in a wheelchair. And I didn't know I'd be a medium. I didn't know I'd be a trance channel. I didn't know I would have my eyes suddenly, many months later, start to blink again, as I was as a child, that I'd become who I am right now, which is a totally different person. I'm not a normal person. I am different. And I was different when I was a kid, and now I'm who I am now. I feel better now, who I am right now. I always felt like I was out of body before my whole life. Now I feel like I'm in my body, who I really am. But when I was at the hospital, I didn't know what I was up against for the rest of my life, because they told me I'd probably never walk. I couldn't hold my head up more than 3 minutes at a time. I was supposed to have multiple surgeries. it wasn't going to be an easy life for me ever again. I wasn't ever going to be able to go back to my job I had before.
Did you go back, by the way?
Never.
Never.
I could never.
Right,
No.
right.
I never knew I'd be who I am now.
The comments that you were hearing in this very brief moment about you know what, tough luck. You're going back, right? You're going back, and you're going to help. You're going to help people. And I know that you didn't understand it, but it's a very clear. You don't have to really guess what somebody is saying. They're saying that you're not dead, right? Today's not your day. You are going back. Did you want to stay, Kimberly? Did you, if you know what I mean? What, did you want to come back?
You know, when I woke up, I didn't really understand a lot, but at that time when it was happening, I just went. I feel like I had to do what they were telling me to do.
Sure.
But then it's a great question, because now, and when I was in the hospital for that many months and having the priest and the rabbis coming in and the meditation, spiritual counselors, when I was in the hospital, I had regrets and I wanted to go back because it was a long haul for me to recover. And then down the line, when I was recovering, I kept thinking about when I was there, how it was really great. So then once my eyes started to blink, you know, moving on with this a little bit.
Sure.
And then I started to accept who I was becoming. I'm okay now. But at the time, I really do think that energy is beautiful.
But
there's a lot to do here.
Right. And two questions. Because of what you went through, now you know why you are here. Now you're happy. You're in bliss land now, right? You've accepted. There's that part of it. But then you look around, and there's a lot of work to do. Is there enough time left to get done? Because now you really have a job.
Yes. Because I'm in a higher dimension, I'm in a fifth and beyond, and then multiple dimensional. I see that we don't have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the dimension they put my body in and the codes that I know and what they did with me, there is a lot of work to do. You're absolutely correct.
You mentioned the dark ball, I think you even said dark ball of light, which is a strange way to describe it, to describe something that's indescribable. That was on your chest. Was that ball of light? I may have missed it. Was that the Holy Spirit, or was it something else? Was it dark?
Oh, it was actually a white. Like a white ball of light that went through my eyes, and then there was a heavy chest, a heavy light pushing down on my chest and commanding me to stay here, and that was pushing on my chest as well. And I've had a few encounters of that after when I came home also.
Oh, okay. I think I misunderstood what you were saying. That it was a dark ball of light. It wasn't dark. It was a light ball of light.
Ball of light
on your chest.
That I felt reactivated my eyes, and then when I was in the hospital.
Right. You have a strong connection. You refer to God. And your spirituality. What do you think now about the duality of heaven and hell? Is that what you witnessed, and is that something now that you know is part of your reality, that is something that is real?
I do feel that we are responsible for our consciousness, and I do feel that we have, I'm not super religious, but I do feel that there is a consciousness for our soul, and that we have to take responsibility for who we are as humans, and that there is levels when we transcend, and that we have percentage of our consciousness. So we can, when you say heaven and hell, there is a transparency, which means we can transcend to a higher consciousness, meaning it's a term of heaven, and there absolutely is a hell, meaning if you are cruel and evil, you have a 0% consciousness. And if you are a good, giving, loving person and respectful and honorable, then you, I say, would have 100% consciousness. There are multiple dimensions in this lifetime, and we have a choice to move in and out, I'd say, and bounce. Do we want to stay in the third dimensional world like we have right now, or do we want to move our world into the awakening, into the Christ consciousness that is here right now for us? Many people want to think that things are super hard when things can be super and totally cool and easy. And there is actually something going on right now that we can do and tap into, and it can be super easy. So yes, in fact, there is heavens and hells. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
too.
Plural.
Yes.
Yeah, very interesting. We're going to head towards a break right here. So just a quick question before we get there. In our universe, outside, off planet, right? Outside of planet Earth, is this consciousness? Is this universal? In that, on another planet, in a galaxy far, far away, same situation there?
Absolutely. Are you referring to like hybrid civilization?
No, not at all. Well, could be. Could be. What I mean is this energy, these levels of consciousness, they're everywhere. It's not exclusive to planet Earth, is it?
No, they're blinking. In that answer, they're blinking. Yes, yes, yes. Both eyes blinking. Yes, they're saying that is true.
That's incredible, man. I should have a video camera on you right now. But okay, we're going to take a break right here. When we come back, what I want to try to do is I want to break all of this down, and I hope that we don't run out of time tonight. It seems like we've got a lot of time in front of us, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get through all of that, and including the blinking codes, which you just told everybody right now is going on. So I think we need to explain exactly for the audience, because, you know, that's the best part about radio, Kimberly, is that we don't have visuals here, right? We are able to paint the picture for everybody, and that's the best part about radio. So we will do that when we come back. Our guest tonight is Kimberly Meredith. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. We've got Kimberly's Twitter right up there, and her website, of course, is thehealingtrilogy.com. Links are over at Jimmy Church Radio. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kimberly Meredith is here. Tomorrow night, Fader Night. Open lines all night long. Tonight, it's Kimberly Meredith. Her website is thehealingtrilogy.com. The links are over at Jimmy Church Radio. And Kimberly, right before the break, we were talking about, actually, you were telling us that, my eyes are blinking. And these codes. Now, before we get to that, was there a moment, because you had gone, from a very young age all the way up to the NDE of no blinking, now it's back. Did you go, oh, man, okay, I'm back and everything, but now I'm blinking again. Did you? You know what I mean? Were you bummed about it? Did you know why you were blinking?
No, I actually was recovering from the. Great question. I was recovering from the accident, and I knew I wasn't going to go back to my old life, which was a medical consultant, and I was in nursing. So I kind of had to give up that lifestyle and thought I would be disabled actually for the rest of my life. And when the eyes started blinking again, I figured out through a girlfriend who was a Reiki master that she said, I don't know what's happening. I said, I don't really, but I know when I was a little girl, my eyes had been blinking. And I think that this is some kind of communication going on with me. So I had started, a friend of mine had come over and she was doing Reiki on me. It was making my head feel better. My head was still suffering from a very bad concussion. I was still in the wheelchair at the time. And what happened was I started realizing that the left eye was communicating, saying yes. And the right eye was communicating and saying no. And how I did that is I had I'm left and right-handed, I'm both. I'd move my hand across my body and I would go left. And I'd move my hand and my same hand, the left hand, it would go right. And over the next month, I would scan over my own body and it would go, wherever I had something happen to me, it would go left eye, right eye, left eye, right eye. So I started to see that this was going on, sort of like an ultrasound machine goes over someone's body. It would know where something was going on.
Right.
So I said, that is very strange. I don't understand what that is. And so as the months were going on, I had nothing going on in the house, but I was trying to recuperate from this accident still, not knowing that I was becoming a full-blown trance medium. And then a friend of mine who was an agent at the time who knew me came over, and he was very sick. He had an Achilles heel that was out of his ankle.
Right.
And I was rubbing my hands together and I was learning Reiki from my girlfriend who was a nurse that I had known, that I used to work with. And I rubbed my hand on his Achilles heel, and I had known with my hand, just was like kind of hanging out on the couch, I kind of put it around on his ankle, and I said, is this where it's hurting? Because my left eye says where things are good, and my right eye says things are bad. And he goes, that's exactly where they're going to do surgery. I said, well, my right eye says it's right about there. And he goes, well, you're right. And I put my hand on it, and I said a prayer. Now, I was raised Jewish, but my dad was Jewish, my mom was Catholic, and I had said a Hail Mary on it, and he went home. And then about a couple days later, he called me up, and he said they canceled his surgery. And I said, why? And he says, they said it was completely healed. And at this point, I didn't think anything really about it. And he says, I think you're a healer. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And he says, well, you knew in your eyes where it was, and my surgeon at Cedars canceled the surgery. And I didn't understand what that was, but fast track into the future now. My eyes know exactly when I put my hands, and I don't have to touch someone. I could just wave it across someone's body, and I know where someone has cancer, brain stroke, their kidney's been taken out, appendix gone, whatever's gone on. And then I can put my hand on somebody. It's not for everybody, but if you believe and you go and take yourself into a higher frequency, which is the fifth dimension, you have a pretty good chance of being healed. And so this developed just with the simple code links with left eye, yes, right eye, no, meaning no, meaning is where something is not good in you.
Right.
And I've been tested at major institutes like Noetta's Eye Institute, that's in Petaluma. I've been put in Faraday cages.
Right.
I've been put into some hardcore testing with 25 people where they'll say, Kimberly, scan them, tell us where the cancer is, if they have it, if they don't. I scan over their bodies. I'll say they've got cancer in the breast, they've got cancer in the liver, and they'll say, you're correct. So I've been put through some hardcore testing, and the blinking and the scanning, and so basically the eyes are very unusual, meaning even for me to understand that they'll go dun 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 dun, and they're getting faster, meaning the left eye will go bum 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 bum, the right eye will go bum 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 bum, and they'll know even now, like in the last 2 weeks, someone will walk in the door, and I'll know before they even lay on the table, right where they've got cancer, or right where their kidney's failing, or right, I'll like just know.
The codes, are there, most people are going to think of maybe Morse code, or these are words. Are they? Is it?
Yeah, so breaking now down, yeah, so moving the mediumship away for the scanning of the body, that's the medical mediumship. So the codes, that's a whole different thing that I do. Scanning, say the Torah or the Bible or documents, the masters, the prophets, they'll come in. Many will use me. I'm like a telephone pole for many civilizations, and they'll take my hand and I'll go over and they'll go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So they'll decipher what they believe is true and not true.
Which I love this now, because this is Kimberly. This is the 5th time tonight, or 6th time, where you've answered my question, or you knew where I was going next. And I find that fascinating, because my next question was, who is controlling the blinking? Well, and you just actually went there, but I have to ask the question. So let me ask the question, and then you answer. Who is controlling the blinking? Where's the direct connection to? Who is the direct connection to?
Well, they're blinking the number 5, which means the energies of the holy, omnipresent, but also the 5th dimension, energy and beyond, which means all of the higher civilizations that want us to move out and beyond the movement, meaning they want us to move, the energy is they want us to move out, move up and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just saying 5, 5th and on.
Do you have a connection with one higher being in particular, one that you like, maybe even have a name for?
Well, I would say, I know that it's the Holy Divine Mary. She's with me a lot, and I know that for sure. It's, of course, the Holy Spirit, the omnipresent, God. But I do know that I have a lot of, I do know that there's a lot of behind the scenes guides coming in, and the civilizations working through me to help us move us along here.
Do you ever go almost on a first name basis with Mary? I mean, do you communicate that way? Do you go, okay, Mary, check this out today? You know what I mean?
Mary has been appearing with me since I've started laying on hands. I get chills, and how this I know is that when I do see a lump and a tumor, and I've been healing people just a short while. It's just been maybe 4 years now, and I've had priests, celebrities, doctors, people in New York City. I'm sure you know Alan Steinfeld. Mm-hmm. We're getting ready to do another event in New York City. Up to 500 people in a room. Hundreds. I walk into a room, I can spot someone with cancer, put them on a table. The amazing thing is to see that just dissolves in front of our eyes. and it's gone. And that is just, if I was to leave tomorrow and go with the omnipresent again, that is enough for me to know and witness that this is the miraculous is here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the calling. And so Mary was here, and she ascended, and Mary, just like people that talk about the alien energy and the Mary energy and scalar energy and Jesus and anyone that has this energy that comes through their body, we can all invoke energy to us. And so I know that Mary is here, and I know that the awakening is here, and they want us to witness more of these miracles.
And when we say Mother Mary, Mother of Jesus Mary, there's so many Marys in the Bible, right? But is that right? Yeah. Is that who we're referring to here?
They're agreeing to Mother Mary. Yes.
Wow, that's fascinating to me.
They're agreeing to the Divine Mother Mary. They are agreeing to the Divine Mother Mary. That her sweetness, her divine presence is needed for our country right now, for the world, and for us to understand that this lovely, beautiful energy is here for us to tap into.
Kimberly, do you ever have to deal with I'm just going to make something up really quick. You're in a supermarket. Sure. You're pushing a shopping cart. You're reaching for something that you want to purchase, and then your left eye blinks, right? You know what I mean? Wait, don't do it. Don't do it, Kimberly. Don't buy the Captain Crunch. Does it happen like that, or are you able to just go, you know what, everyone, not right now. I need some me time.
Okay, that's a great question, Jimmy. First of all, I'm always scanning everything, and I know it could be very annoying to hang out with me, but it's great because I know what's poisonous and good and bad to eat, and I know the things, and so it's very good because I can read a label so fast on the back of something. It's amazing. I'm the fastest reader you could ever find. So I know. It's like, did you ever see the movie Lucy?
Yes.
I'm like her. So I know I have to. They won't let me. I have to scan everything.
And you can't turn. Yeah, right. So you can't turn it off. You can't turn it off. That's and Kimberly, let's go back. Let's go back to Alan Steinfeld in New York. When you are scanning somebody, can you also identify a symptom? What may be causing this medical issue?
Oh yes, that's the most fun of it. Yes, I find the symptom, and when it occurred, it could be something from 10 years ago. I'm like a private investigator, so yes, I find when it happens, like Edgar Cayce. So I go back to the beginning, and I like that. That's the best part of it, putting it all together.
And with your medical background before the NDE and what you are doing today, are you able to use your medical background as a nurse and combine that with the messages and the healing that you are getting today? Are the two of them working together?
Sometimes, but the guides that are coming in, they get annoyed with that.
Right.
Because the 5% of Kimberly is not as smart as the guides that are coming in, are much smarter. And they are extremely extremely intelligent. Things that I never would have known, like they know the mitral valves, and they know things that are beyond, and just things that the stuff that comes out of my mouth when I'm on stage and calling out things, and even in my office, and, you know, just things that I would never even have heard of, or, you know, that you could see through somebody's, you know, like I'll scan somebody, I'll say, your left eye is worse than your right eye, your left eye has a cornea, and the person will be like, yeah, I just had my cornea, you know, worked on. And so, yeah, but as far as like knowing the body parts and things, I think there is some part of me that knows that, but the guys that are coming in that are surgeons and stuff, they know far more than I knew.
And when you do something or say something that you've never said before, right? Yeah. It's never come out of your mouth. And if somebody tells you about that later, how do you deal with it? I mean, certainly the first time that it happened, you must have been like, what? I didn't say that. Well, yes, you did, and we heard you. What were you thinking about, you know, what was going on with that? Are you confused?
The first time I ever scanned a person that I scanned, the first man I ever scanned, and I knew he had cancer. It blew me away. I knew he had 3 tumors in his lower abdominal walls and in his stomach. And I said, when I know someone has cancer, it's different types of blinks and different kinds of flushes in my body. Mm-hmm. And I'll know someone has cancer. So people often come to me and say, can you tell me if I have cancer, Kimberly? And I'll know because I get flushes and different types of blinks. So when I knew this person had it, he said, that's weird. I just had gone to the doctor, and he said, I didn't have it. And I said, I know that you have it. Then he had gone to John Hopkins, and John Hopkins said, who is this woman? She is right. You do have it. And then when I had done a healing on him, one of the tumors in his stomach had completely dissolved. They told him he had it still. When they cut him open at UCLA, when they opened him, it was completely gone. So that was the first success story I had, and it was rocking amazing. And I felt very, very, you know, I felt like, could this really be happening to me? Is this really going on? But now, after several years now, it's been like 3 years of me really spot on doing it and seeing the results, and seeing how people can have the results when they follow what I do and stick to the treatment plans. I have several different treatment plans that I give people too, that they know not to drink tap water. They know to drink, you know, healthy water, and I have supplement programs and things that they can really rock this, that cancer is not a death sentence and immune suppressed conditions are not a death sentence anymore.
And what about is there a liability side of this? Are you nervous about that, about maybe a misdiagnosis or somebody that may not be healed, or you know, how do you deal with that part of it?
Well, the psychic surgery that I do, that's a good question. I do with my hands, and laying on hands and my eye blinking that tells me where to go. And all the time that I do the medical scanning and diagnosing, they come in, they sign a waiver, they write out what they have. They put in an envelope. It's really cool. They don't show it to me. I scan and they record it. They open the envelope after, and we compare our notes, and I'm always spot on. Mm-hmm. They already know what they have. If they don't know what they have and I tell them what they have, they can go to their doctor and confirm it. I'm always spot on. And then actually, after I do the psychic surgery, they can go to their doctor. I work with tons of doctors, and, you know, they've got cancer centers up north. They've got cancer centers all over the world. We're all working together. It's the same conversation. My stuff that I like to do is different than most. I don't like detoxing. I find detoxing to be dehydrating. I find really good effects with boosting the immune system and oxygen. So I feel that you can't really go wrong with praying and hydrating. And I feel it's all a really good conversation here.
I do all of those
really
things.
Lovely.
Yeah, I do all of those
you
things.
Do?
I do.
That's
and,
wonderful.
Well, see, but this is what I find fascinating. I stumbled upon, I'm not the same person today that I was 10 years ago, certainly 15 years ago, with my habits. I had bad habits. I like to drink. I like to drink soda. I had no fears of sugar. The foods that I ate, I you know what I would do before I went to bed every single night? Every night, you're going to freak out. You're going to lose your mind when I tell you this. I would eat a bowl of Captain Crunch with whole milk before I went to bed every single night of my life. I don't do that anymore. And the things that I started to do, it was a natural transition. I didn't take advice from people. I wasn't on some program. I didn't, there's none of that. The detoxing that I started to do, I did on my own. I switched to water, bottled water, on my own. I don't drink sodas anymore. And I used to have, I could not survive if I didn't have a case of Coca-Cola and a case of Dr. Pepper in my refrigerator. Right? What a crazy lifestyle. Well, now there are no bottles or cans of soda in my life. But I did all of this in a natural transition. And I take certain supplements today and I drink certain teas. And now I'm not a complete health nut. I eat meat. I still enjoy a Mexican Coke once in a while. I love the taste.
That's great.
But I don't. And I have gotten better. I don't get colds. I don't have these crazy, health issues. But there are people out there, Kimberly, that follow that path because they're listening to their body. They're not listening to you or listening to me, right? But they make the transition on their own. It's the others out there that don't do it on their own that need to listen to what you and I are saying right now. Isn't that right?
You're absolutely correct. And a lot of the clients, I love that, a lot of the clients who come into me, they're shocked when I say I'm not into the detoxing saying my protocol treatments are just shocking to them because I love boosting the immune system with good, healthy water, with a good probiotic I have that I love, which is called Inner Echo Probiotic at Whole Foods. It's these girls that made it. They're super cool. Nikki, it's called Inner Echo Coconut. It's a liquid probiotic. And I like vitamin D because most people that are immune suppressed are lacking vitamin D because the sun is not the sun.
That's right.
Totally toxic sun. And I put them on vitamin B6 and 12. I'm not into doing turmeric, which everybody's taking tons of it. It actually can heat up the body and cause more inflammation. And I'm into a very different types of things that people are like really, once they go on my program, they actually start looking super healthy. They get really hydrated, and they start to really dig it. I get them on lysine, selenium. I start having them not to take a bath in tap water because the bath has a lot of fluoride in it and chlorine. I have them buy this really cool thing. It's called a shower ball. It's only $20. A lot of my clients come from downtown LA and like all over the place in New York City, and they're taking baths in the tap water, and they get urinary tract infections and cancer, urine cancer. And this shower ball thing is really cool. It takes all the chlorine out of the bath, and you get it on Amazon, and it's so neat. And it's just called a shower ball by Rain Shower.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what about
great.
taking a shower?
Well, that too. So when you're taking a shower and you've got cancer and you're out there doing radiation or chemo, or you're doing immunotherapy, which I really like too. Immunotherapy is really great. You want to make sure you're not breathing in steam and without a shower filter. And some people say, well, I don't have the money for a shower filter. Well, there's a company called Rain Shower, which I really love, which has also got the Amazon bath ball. Well, the Rain Shower, they've got filters for $10, $12, and so my clients aren't doing well with their chemo, or they're doing it without chemo, but all of a sudden they start to thrive. They're drinking wheatgrass juice, celery juice, or cucumber water, and they put the shower filter on, and they're not breathing in the chlorine anymore, and they're all of a sudden looking so healthy, and they're getting better and better. I do the hands-on healing on them. So it's not the shower itself, it's breathing in the steam.
I have never, I'm looking at these now. I didn't know.
Rain shower?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Awesome company. It's another company that I really love them. They're so cool, and they're not expensive. And when you rinse your fruit off or you boil your eggs, you want to make sure that your filter on your sink is not with regular water, because that's fluoride.
Right.
And you want to make sure you're brushing your teeth with a non-fluoride toothpaste.
Okay, I got to take a break right here, and I've got to order. I've got to order all of this stuff on Amazon really quick. We'll be right back after this short break.
Okay.
This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Kimberly Meredith. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Kimberly Meredith. Tomorrow night is open lines all night long. Love it when we get to Thursday night and I get to hang out with all of you. But tonight it's Kimberly Meredith. And Kimberly, I want to break down a few of these job titles of yours. And I want to start with, because we've mentioned casually all of this tonight. And, so for the audience, let's break some of this down. A medical intuitive, what is that?
That's a great question. A medical intuitive is somebody that can go through your body and see exactly what is wrong with you and piece together, go in cold without you telling them a single thing. So like you go into somebody's office and you want a reading of what exactly is wrong with you. So it's like you're going into an MRI machine and the MRI is scanning you. And even more than that. So basically a medical medium is like Edgar Cayce, who he put himself into a trance and he would lay next to a person, and he was the most documented psychic in the world. And that's who I am. I don't need you to tell me a single thing about you, and you come in my office and I just read you cold, and I can tell everything about you from when you were a kid, if you got hit in your head or you had heart surgery. So then after I find everything about you, then I piece together how it all happened. And then I say, well, this happened, or your knee had surgery, or your mitral valve, or you have cholesterol issue. But why do you have cholesterol issue? You're on Lipitor, but why are you on Lipitor? Oh, my blood pressure's okay. Well, it's okay because you're on Lipitor. It's not really okay. Lipitor is making it okay, but what is the root cause of that?
Exactly.
So you're on that, but why? We need to figure out and fix why you're on that. So cancer, you've got lymphoma, you've got breast cancer. Why do you have breast cancer? Well, it's because you're brushing your teeth with fluoride. You've got most people that come in my office, I'd say 95% of the clients that come in my office, they're brushing their teeth with fluoride, and then their teeth are bad, their gums are bad, their lymph nodes are bad, then it goes down to their breast, and then they start getting lumps in their breast and their immune. So most of us are immune suppressed, and we have vitamin D deficiency. So most of my clients will come in, they'll say, well, I have breast, they won't tell me. I'll say, oh, you have breast cancer. They'll go, yeah. Well, what is your vitamin D level? I don't know. Did your doctor take your vitamin D level? No, he didn't. Well, you've got to know what your vitamin D is, because if you're going to go through all this, you've got to be above 25%. You've got to take vitamin D. So what I'm really saying is that a medical medium's got to know what you've got. They've got to address the issues. They've got to dig down deep, get you on good supplements. But here where I come in, I'm also a healer. So I do all that, then I do the healing on you, and I also put you on a supplemental plan, too, on top of it. And I also try to bring your gifts out also and bring you in a little closer to the intimacy of the divine.
Do you ever freak anybody out? Right, they come in.
Oh,
I mean, do you freak them out? Do you get somebody running out of the office? You know, because it may be not what they want to hear. Maybe they're coming in skeptical too, as well. I know you're saying that they need to be at a 5D component in their life, but not everybody is, right?
I would say here's the people that come to me. Most of the people that come to me are either at their end of their end. I mean, they're like ready to leave the world, or they're dying for information on how to connect to the Holy Divine. They've seen me out, they've seen me out rocking with God out there, at the expos. They've seen the miraculous healings. They can't wait to get in to have a scan and to find out what's really going on with their bodies. They've been to so many doctors, and some that I do with scanning and healing, they're like, oh my God, you just took this energy off my body. I've had an exorcism. And that kind of like freaks me out too, because is it really an exorcism, or is it the divine coming in you and blessing you and taking that? So basically, to answer your question, is a tumor really a tumor? Is cancer really cancer? Is a disease really a disease? Is Parkinson's really Parkinson's? Is MS really MS? It's all energy. It's energy that gets on you and invades us. And so I guess to answer your question is, I'm sure I have, yes, definitely
right.
blown somebody's people's minds, yes.
And a trance channeler. Now, yeah, exactly, because I have I've interviewed, and I know many channelers. I've been on the show quite often. Trance channeler is a little bit new to me in this audience. What is a trance channeler?
That's what Casey was. He was a trance channel. He was a sleeping, I think, trance, where he would take himself and put him in trance, lay flat, put him in trance, lay next to somebody and diagnose in trance. So during the day when I'm in the office, people think I'm asleep. They'll walk in, they'll say, "Are you high? Are you awake?" Because I look like I'm half asleep when I'm really in deep trance. So like I'm blinking, but I look kind of out of it, like I'm like, ooh, So it's like when I'm scanning, my eyes are kind of like trancing, shut, like half shut, and then I don't have to touch you. I like just I wave my hand, and I also do Skyping. My Skypes are really cool, so you can Skype me, and I can just wave my hand over you through the Skyping. So trance means it's a little bit like a deeper state. So it's like you're half asleep kind of state of consciousness.
How do you?
I really let them take me over, like I'm really taken over.
Exactly. And how do you retain the information? Do you come out of the trance and write it down? Are you recording it? Are you remembering it? How do you go about that?
It's funny you say that. I know. I also can't do my work without music. I love to do all my trancing and all my work with either some kind of music. I have to have music on all the time, like 7 hours, 8 hours a day. So I have to do all my healing with music.
What kind of music?
It can be anything from, rock and roll to alternative to, anything. Like I like all music, the Beatles. I have an event coming up August 24th with some very well-known musicians doing Beatles. I just have to always, since this happened to me, since my NDE, I always have to have music playing while I do my events. And so I do record my sessions. We record it with a recorder. And this is a very interesting part. My memory is not that great in real life, but not real life, but when I'm like not in totally trance, but every single thing I remember when I'm with my clients, everything. I remember every single thing. And my clients will come in sometimes, they'll say, how did you remember every single thing with me? My session was like 3 months ago. And I'll remember everything from my client.
Rock and roll. We love our rock and roll here on Fade to Black, by the way. Just give me a taste. Okay. I heard you say Beatles. I don't equate the Beatles with rock and roll. The Beatles are the Beatles, right? They have their own style. Wouldn't call that rock and roll. But when you say rock and roll and when you say alternative, who are your favorite? When I hear rock and roll, I think Led Zeppelin or Van Halen. Is that where you're going? Are you in that zone?
I am, actually. I do love all of that. I love the Doors. I love all that. I loved John Cornell. I love all of that type of music. I even when I don't even know if you like rap music.
I love
when
rap.
When I was in the hospital every day, for me to get out of the wheelchair and try to walk, I listened to Eminem.
Shut up. No, you didn't. Did you really?
I had to. Yeah, that was the only way I could learn to walk was through listening to Eminem. And M helped me. I don't know what was going on, but that was the only way. And my fiancé at the time was like, he's a gypsy jazz guitarist. And he was like really annoyed. He's like, but it was the only way I could walk. Yeah.
Wow.
And Ryan McMillan from Matchbox 20 and Mark Hart from Supertramp and John Cornell from SNL and Steve Dempsey from Core are playing with me the Beatles music, and they're super amazing musicians. And
yes, they are.
They've been playing. Yeah, All We Need Is Love we're putting together for this event coming up. And it's very interesting how I put my mediumship with music and like how the guides have authentically combined the music with my mediumship when I do live events.
I think it's great.
You do?
Yeah,
okay.
we could sit. Trust me, the audience is like, oh, here we go. Jimmy and Kimberly are now talking music.
Okay.
Because I can go right there. We can do the rest of the show and just talk about music and healing, and I think we're spot on the money. Now, okay, let's move on to psychic surgeon. Two words that shouldn't go together, right? Psychic surgeon. What's a psychic surgeon?
Well, I really didn't know what it was either because someone just labeled it that. But it could be called a laying on hands healer. It could be. But what happens is I'm just taken over. I'm out there, I'm in the room, or I'm on stage, and it just, my whole body completely goes like taken over. My hands go numb, my lips go numb. It's kind of like being a rock star. I'm on stage, my hands go numb, everything goes numb. They tell me where to go. So after I find everything in the body, and I go into this auric field, it's the fifth, 12th dimension, they tell me where to go, where they want to do the healing. The person could say, no, I want you to do my left breast where the lump is, or I want you to do my ovary, or I want you to do the healing here, or whatever, or impregnate me, or whatever. But my guides are telling me, you're going to do this area. So then they'll guide me to, like, take the lump out of her thyroid tumor, okay, or whatever it's at. So then I will go to that area, and they'll be like, dun, 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 with my eye, and then my hand will go where the lump is, and then they'll say, dun, 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 go and remove it. And so I'll go and take my hand where the area is, and then it's like my hand, one hand is the knife, and the other hand is the scissor, like the stitch to stitch it. And then it's very light, and as I'm laying my hand, if we're in an event, the whole room will go, Om, or the band will be playing, or whatever's going on, or the person will open their hands to receive the healing. It is unbelievably, phenomenally. I mean, I can't even explain to you. And the person on the table, even in my office or at the event, they say, you can see the videos on YouTube, that they feel like they're floating like in a Harry Potter movie. Like, it's like, like that. It's like unbelievable. And then it's like, it's gone. You know, it's like, it's gone. It's just gone. It just vanishes. Or if it's I'm putting back an intestinal tract. So say you have a surgery, you had something happen, like your appendix was taken out, and like your abdominal area is all funky now and you can't have a bowel movement right. They'll have me put back your intestinal tract the right way. So you can go on and look at my testimonials and stuff for people having that type of stuff. They'll say, oh, I can go to the bathroom better now, or my prostate feels better now. I know that's kind of being too much TMI on here, but I mean, this is what happens.
No, I get it. I get it.
Like, I feel great now, you know.
Do you ever help me, Kimberly, help me, I want to know what's going on inside of your head when you're doing this. Is whether you're doing the intuitive or you know, doing this type of psychic surgery. Do you have like an MRI X-ray vision? Are you seeing inside of somebody's body when this is going on?
That's a great question. Okay, so when it's happening, the room is like spinning out of control. Everyone is going like this, shoo, shoo, shoo. So that's what I hear, and it's spinning, and I don't hear anything. I just hear like this kind of wave going on, and the music's going on, and it's like that. Even when I'm in my office, the music is like kind of going, whoo, whoo, whoo.
Right.
It's like another dimension.
Right.
And then my lips and everything is like really high. And then when I'm looking in the person, I do see through them and like their skin and the thing that's happening. So it's really it's a high. It's intense. And then if I get too high, it's almost like Michelangelo that used to like make the sculptures and stuff, that he would have like a seizure. He had epilepsy.
Right.
So he would like make those sculptures and get like, looks like a little kid bouncing like really high, like, whee!
Right.
And like
right.
he gets just like too high. Yeah.
And what about after? What about after? Are you exhausted?
I feel really amazing. Like I feel like really excited because everybody's really happy, and it's like they're really like, yeah. And then I'm okay. You know, I feel revived from it all. I feel good. I feel really gracious and gratitude and love with God and Holy Spirit for helping me help them.
Now you've also got the role of teacher. And so that's you're almost at two ends of the spectrum here, right? Where you're receiving information and you are connecting, and you're still probably trying to figure out what's really going on with that. But then all the way over on the other side is the role of teacher. It's one thing to get the information. It's another thing altogether to translate and communicate and to teach. Right?
Oh, yeah. They just blinked. They actually like that you're saying that, because that's our next step right now that we're figuring out. They're blinking yes to you, and they just said 3 blinks yes and number 5 blink, and they're saying that they want me to do more of that coming up. So yeah, that's our next step, because my book is now my first book is out right now and is possibly getting published. And then we're going to move into doing more of teaching people as the next step that we're going to do more of.
What is it that you're going to teach?
Well, I can't teach the blinking.
No, you can't. You know what I was doing? Yeah. You can't see me, but the audience can. They're watching me on the camera, on the bunker cam. I was trying to blink with one eye, right, and the other. I can't do it. You know what I mean? I can't do it. I can't do that. That's tricky. I was trying to do it. So no, you can't teach it. I don't think you can teach me to do it, certainly.
No, it's just spontaneous. Yeah. But I can teach, I can activate people's eyes. I can do DNA activation. I love activating people's eyes. and I can activate them to do laying on hands healing. And I did one class at Rama Institute where I'll be on the 24th, and I do want to have people learn how to do, and they are telling me I can help people learn to do the psychic surgery where they can actually love to be in the fifth dimension, feel amazing in this fifth dimensional energy, and learn how to dissolve energies off their body. And that would be really rocking great.
Do you get to a point where sometimes you're with a client and you don't share what you know?
Well, I get around an individual or a person that is reluctant to go into the higher frequency. They want to stay in the lower frequency. Our world is in battle right now with higher frequency energies, as I'm sure you know. So there's people that are just not going to go to the higher frequency, and they're going to stay in the lower frequency world. So if I am in that energy field, I always will try to help them out in some way. But if they're stuck in that, I have to let it be, of course. I know the song, Let It Be.
Right. And what about if somebody's really in a bad situation health-wise? Do you hold back, or do you tell them exactly what's going on?
Oh, no. I always tell them everything. I tell everybody everything. I'm always just very honest and truthful and tell people every single thing.
That can't make, if it's bad news, it can't make somebody happy. How do you know what I mean? So now you've got an emotional connection with somebody.
Right.
How do you deal with that? I mean, it's got to affect you in some ways.
I feel that because my connection with the intimate, divine love of God and all the guides, I feel so strongly with the people that come towards me, their connection is embraced also, that they know that living in a higher dimension, that we can take on anything, and that they become more fearless in the journey.
Right.
And the people that come to me when they hear something that may be a negative, they feel more empowered with us, with what we're tackling, and they don't feel the negative as hard. And even when they go out in the community, which is the medical field community, they feel less empowered sometimes because they go home with feeling less hope. So I feel that it's a positive that we have more support here together.
Somebody just said blinking with one eye, Jimmy, is actually called winking. That's not what I'm referring to. It's and you have to see Kimberly to understand what I'm talking about, and I can't do it. I hope that the next time that you and I see each other, that you go, Jimmy, it's okay to look at me in the eye, right? I won't be looking at your feet.
We will look at each other, and we will be activated.
Yes, we need to take a break here, Kimberly,
Okay.
and when we come back, I want you to ask. I want you to ask your guides if it's okay for me to talk about how you communicate and some of the things and subjects that you talk about. All right, that the information that you're getting. Can you do that for me during the break? I mean, I don't want to. Sure. I don't want to offend the guides, right? What are they? Are they saying anything to you right now? Or are they going, Jimmy? It's cool.
No, it's fine. They're blinking.
Okay.
Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Let's take a break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Kimberly Meredith. I do want to remind everybody that tomorrow night is Fader Night. Open lines all night long. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Kimberly Meredith. Just got an email from Renee. She says, Please tell Kimberly I've been using rain showers filters for decades and recommend them highly. And there you go, Kimberly. She's one of our show producers, and that came in from Tucson.
Oh.
Yeah, very cool.
Yay.
Yeah, and, I just ordered one. I don't know how I'm going to figure out how to hook it up, but, I got to do the manly stuff around the house and show Rita, that I'm handy with the tools. So there you go. Somebody just posted a picture of me trying to blink with one eye. And, man, Brian, take that down. Somebody's going to turn that into a meme. And oh man, I look like I've been drinking Kimberly. You should see this picture. It's bad. Okay, so now there's the whole medical side, the God side, the Mother Mary side, where we're dealing with health issues and clients and things, which I get that. What about the other side in communication? Do you receive information about us? Do you ask questions about us? Are you able to ask questions? Is it a two-way street? So there's 4 questions for you right in a row. Is it always medical, or are there other subjects that are channeled?
Great. That's great to ask. No, there is other subjects. I have documentary filmmakers that are doing a documentary with me right now, and I have people that come to me for spiritual counseling, and I have an angel club that I have put together right now that I do lots of deeper subjects matters that people will come and sit in front of me and ask questions in my head. It's interesting how I move. Like, they actually take my body, they move my head. It's like a robot almost. So I move my head to the left, I'll go do, 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 and then I'll in sequence, that's where the codes come in, the 21 or 24 blinking codes will come in, and I'll blink in codes, numbers, and then I go into deeper trance, and I can speak back to you and answer questions and translate information to you on different subject matters. So like my Angel Club, I have once a month a webinar that, 100 people or more come on, and I'll do topics about different things. And then so also people do also ask me questions. Like I have a radio show that people will call in and ask me questions on health and stuff, but also on consciousness and different subject matters.
Okay, so when you say topics,
right.
Different topics, what are some? Yeah. What are some of those topics?
People will ask me things about living a more deeper, more passionate, fearless life. They'll ask me how to communicate with their spirit guides, how to create more honesty within themselves, like how do I clear blockages, how do I connect my subconscious mind to how do I do remote viewing. They'll just ask me like different things like that. They'll want to know more about, like I was talking about the hybrid civilizations. They'll ask me stuff about that. They'll sometimes ask me if I'm a hybrid. They'll just ask different things about themselves. They'll ask stuff about
They ask if you're a hybrid? Did you say they asked if you're a hybrid?
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
And what was your answer, by the way? Oh, man.
What do you think?
I think it's a great question. I do want to know your answer.
Well, I'll tell you in a second, but they're also saying to me, the guides, that they want to talk about topics like discovering our divine blueprint about ourselves. They want to talk about discovering the deeper meaning of us moving into the Aquarian age. This is the Aquarian age and evolving on a higher level. They want to talk about our DNA, upgrading our DNA, forgetting about the third dimension, moving out of the third dimension. And I know that these are things that people talk about a lot about, and many people have been talking about it from Einstein. But my guides are trying to help us understand about the quantum fields, awakening to it more, and having us learn about putting shields around our bodies and understanding that this is probably a very, very dark time, and that it could get very, very dark, as we do see it's a dark time, but this is also a very miraculous time and a very amazing time, because we're going to be witnessing more miracles that are happening. But for us to really understand that in order for us to witness the miracles, we have to really be open to witnessing them. Does that make sense?
It does. And these were all questions that I was going to ask you. It's funny that they said, well, because that was my intention before the break, was to go into these other, it's all very important, because Kimberly, I know that everybody, you don't even have to be 5D or spiritual or awakened to notice that this planet is in a bad place right now. Everybody's fighting, and social media and trolling, and whether it's religion or politics or racism or the gay community, it doesn't matter. Everybody's fighting. And it's something that it's never been quite like this before. So I think people are starting to recognize that there's something going on here, and that, you know what, you can ignore it for only so long, but we have to do something about it, don't we?
Yes, and so since there's such an uproar of seeing all of the disease and people fighting and some of this coming to the surface, what's the good news is that they're blinking my guides. They're going, God, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, God, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That there is an energy and an evolvement happening that is glorious and loving and kind and peaceful, and you can't stop that either, which is a civilization and holiness that is on the rise. And there's many of us here and moving in, and you can't stop it. So there's always been dark and light going on. Gandhi was shot. Lenin was shot. There's always been Martin Luther Jr. was shot. There's always been people that have been taken out that were here to do something amazing, correct? So basically what I'm saying to you is that now is the time for us as people to take responsibility, to understand that we can choose what we want to see and believe. And we are now saying that it's actually, this is a time where things, you can't stop it, that this is really a good time to be here in history, because I do believe that this is a really good shift that's happening. This is revolutionary.
And there's, you're right about that. And I also feel that we are so dangerously close into stepping into the darkness to a bad place that we may not be able to get ourselves back out of. I mean, I think we're at that critical tipping point right now, don't you?
I do, but I think we are going to be seeing such beauty and truth, because the truth is so great. There's so many light workers. There's so many people that are showing the universe, such as revealing answers and truth and happening. And so I believe that the energy of the holiness and the energy of God is so much stronger than any negative energy.
That's right.
And so I cannot imagine that God, holiness, omnipresent, would ever have less energy than the dark energy. The dark energy is losing its power, which is so cool.
No, I agree with you. And I used to...
I know.
I say, well, I used to say, I still say it, but I don't say it as much as I used to. I used to tell everybody I walk around with flowers hanging out of my pockets, right? That's me, that I always feel that no matter how crazy life gets or how crazy this planet gets, that that rainbows and unicorns are gonna rule, and that's
yeah.
But I don't want to sound like I'm naive, right? Or I don't.
Well, no, I'm saying I see what you're saying. Well, it's funny because I know some people that in the politic world and all that, it's like, oh, well, you can't say all you need is love. We have to face reality. All this stuff. But the reality is that it is all we need is love. And the reality is, when it comes down to it, love is all there is. And love is all we need. Because basically, energy, if we're fighting and yelling and screaming, is turning everything into a negative. And the negative is turning everything into cancer and global warming. And everything is greed and fear, which is third dimensional. So when it comes down to it, it is about that. And we really do need to make a stand and need to just, it ripples, it's a ripple effect. And, I could go into deeper about this on other topics and things about, other things that I blink on. That's pretty intense stuff that the guides, know about in the future that's happening.
What about, and I know you hear this, but what about those out there that go, you know what, I've been waiting for the 5D transition, for 20 years, and I can't hang on for another year. We need to start to see the changes. How do you respond to that when somebody has that point of view?
Oh, that's very good. That is because it is here right now. The awakening and the ascension is here right now, but they're not creating the 5D within them. We all need to create the 5D within us. Living a deeper, more passionate, fearless life creates a ripple effect around the whole world. It's revolutionary. The fifth dimension is an ascension process which is created within us. So like the way I love music, music is revolutionary. Music heals the world. So the music is within you, and the music heals within the whole country. And so we can raise the vibration. We don't need to wait around for anyone present or anything to make a shift. We can do it within us. Every person has the right to make choices and responsibilities for our communication with the Holy Omnipresent, our family, our wives, our children, how we create our home, how we create our relationships. We take responsibility, and we can make our whole world a better place to be in. So yes, creating the 5D within us is creating the 5D within our whole country, our whole world.
And how do we start to, I don't want to say convert, but there are masses of people. Our community is big, but the community that has no clue what you and I are talking about is much bigger, right? Now, the people that are listening to this program right now and they're enjoying it, we're having fun, and it's great, and it's rah team, but they already get it, Kimberly. It's the ones that don't listen to this program. That's who we've got to get to. How do we do it?
Well, I feel there's a longing for people that are sitting at home having popcorn, watching TV, and, watching or whatever they're doing out there, or, people that come to me because they're very sick but they don't have any of knowledge. I think there are people out there that want the knowledge, they want to learn, they want to have happiness, they want to have more joy, there's suffering. I think there is a way to teach, and they want to get rid of the old patterns. They want to get rid of thinking about the child abuse. They want to forget about, they've been in therapy for 25, 30 years. They've had stuff happen to them. I was raised in a childhood that wasn't great. I had a lot of stuff happen to me that wasn't terrific either. And I have learned how to program myself out of that. I had the NDE, and there's ways that people can learn. I'm here hopefully to help people with that also, to help people learn to leave behind a third-dimensional world and move forward in a fifth-dimensional lifestyle. And this can happen. This is the time that we can say, I believe in miracles, and witness the miracles, and understand that there are miracles happening every single day. We just have to be open to seeing them.
There is a phenomenon going on right now with the media covering UFOs and subjects and ET and trying to search for alien life. Well, in our community, we talk about that kind of stuff all the time. But this now going out over Fox and CNN and the New York Times, global BBC, around the world, RT, Al Jazeera, everybody's talking about UFOs and alien life. This is going out to an audience that may have never even thought about this subject before. What do you think is going on with that? What is the message that the governments of the world and the news outlets are trying to project out onto the world? Why now?
Well, I think it has to be done. I think it has to prepare the world for the inevitable. The inevitable is that we're moving forward. We're moving in the number 5. And the 5 is here, and the fifth dimension is here, and they are here. And this is not to be living in fear. And, I think a lot of people fear them. And they are, a lot of times I think people want to make fun of them or put them down or make it like they're bad or there's something that they're not good, or they have capabilities that are not good, or they don't know something, or they're not always looked upon as
positive.
Yeah, and I'm here to say that many of them are good and loving and kind, and are here to help advance us, advance the world to move forward, advance the world to be able to stay here and to give information that no human being could ever give.
There is a lack of reaction from the planet with all of this ET news that we're getting on a daily basis now, in that people aren't freaking out, are they, Kimberly? It seems like everybody's pretty okay with this news.
Yeah, so that's good. But there are some people, that I get clients that come in and stuff that have their opinions. Yeah, but I think it's good that on the internet and stuff that it's going well. So that's good.
It is going well for the most part, and then it seems that. It seems like the government wants to take a position, certainly the Navy has and others, of using the word threat. And you just touched upon this, too, as well, that it may be a threat. Right. This may be a threat. Putting this dark cloud, this negative spin on the UFO subject and using fear to freak people out, because right now people aren't freaking out. They're not doing it. So it seems like they're trying to interject this dark side of what may be going on, and that there's an agenda for doing that. And I don't know what the agenda is, by the way, by using fear. I don't know if it's to build up a space force and laser beams, for an off-planet battle and spend some money for the Department of Defense. I don't know. But there's that side of it, too. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
What do your guides say?
Well, you can't have a relationship with the Holy Spirit with staying in fear, and you're only held back with the old ways, And I believe that any energy, being an extraterrestrial or human or anything that is here, is an aspect of God. I truly do. And they are an aspect of the energy of God. They are.
Somebody, and we talked
They
about,
are.
yeah, we talked about this earlier, but for me, when I think about the creation of the universe, and of course our Milky Way and our planet all goes along with that, but with the creation of the universe, where there seems to be some type of magic going on, there's something, call it divine, call it what you will, but I don't think it was luck, and I don't think it was, it just happened and the Big Bang just happened. But if we go to another planet and we communicate and we go, you and I go, for instance, right? And we go, and we jump on a starship and we go, and we're hanging out with the people on that planet. Are they going to use the same words that you and I are using right now, right? Divine, that there is a presence to, are they going to have the same understanding? And that same divine presence, that same God, that same Mother Mary, those same angels, right? The same ascended masters, are they communicating with the same ones, and is that who is communicating with us?
No, they're not going to be using those same words. They're blinking now.
Really? Oh man, that's a whole nother show.
They're not going to be using the same. They're not going to be using the same words. Perhaps they're going to be messaging in different communications. Right. They're blinking number 5 again. The 5 blink codes to me.
Now, the communication that is happening with you right now, and this is very important, the communication that is happening to you right now, where is it coming from?
Well, they're moving my body. They're putting me, they're just blinking number 5, and they sometimes sign language or they do light language.
No, what
light
I mean,
is like those.
Kimberly, I'm speaking more black and white than that. I'm saying that, are they here on Earth? Are they out in the electric universe? Are they in another star system? Where is it coming from?
Well, they're communicating. They're saying they are from out in a star system.
Yeah, and this is what I find interesting about that. That communication is happening in real time. So they have a technology. They understand an ability that we don't understand here on this planet yet. Right?
That is correct.
That they are able to communicate across vast distances. In real time, and there's some kind of quantum entanglement. There is something that is happening there that we quite simply don't understand yet.
They blinked 5. That is correct.
Yeah. Kimberly, you are absolutely amazing. You have an event coming up on August 24th. Tell us about that.
Yes. So that event will be at Rama Institute in Venice, and it will start at 2:00. I'll be doing a very extensive mediumship event on information about boosting your immune system, avoiding toxic mercury and plastics, eating healthy, and I will be going in the audience and picking multiple people out to scan them on the table and giving information about what's going on in the body. I'll be accompanied by this beautiful band and we'll be playing Beatles music. It's a very amazing, high-frequency, joyful, loving event with lots of beautiful people coming. It's a miraculous healing event where everybody has a chance to be healed in the whole entire room. So it's really cool. I hope people would like to come to it. It starts at 2:00.
The Rama Institute, which is at 316 Lincoln Boulevard, right there in Venice. And so that's from 2 to 4 p.m. It's in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. August 24th, and all of Kimberly's events, and there is a lot of stuff on her calendar for the rest of the year in 2019 is right there on her website. Just click on the events section in the menu, and it'll take you straight there. And everything that you need is over at thehealingtrilogy.com. Kimberly, thank you so much. What a great conversation tonight, and I really look forward to having you back on the show with us. And big shout out to Donna, too, as well. Got to do that.
Oh, yes.
Got to do
Donna,
that.
thank you. And Jimmy, I really had such a nice time being here tonight with you. This has just been so wonderful. The guides love you.
We love them right back. But I knew, Kimberly, I knew that this was going to be so much fun. And it was going to be great to finally get you on the show. But this is just the first time, and I really look forward to having you back. And maybe I can make it out to Venice on the 24th and come and hang out with everybody. That'd be really cool. Okay?
Yeah, totally fun. I want you to. Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. God bless you. Bye, thank you.
Right back at you. Kimberly Meredith. Now, everything is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on the links for Kimberly, thehealingtrilogy.com. And do go. You can contact. Everything that you need is right there. But go to the events page, and you can see everything through the end of the year, where Kimberly is and what she is up to. All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Open line, 747-228-2051. Open lines right now. I want to thank Kimberly Meredith. What a unbelievable conversation, and what a wonderful, wonderful soul. She is absolutely amazing. And just go over to the Healing Trilogy, and certainly if you're in Southern California and you know where Rama is in Venice Beach, but just go to her events calendar right there at thehealingtrilogy.com and go and check her out. She's just unbelievably cool, really cool. So there is something going on, and I couldn't agree with her more. I can feel it. I remember years ago, and which even goes back to like the conversation that I had last night with John Greenwald, that there was something going on. And if you go back to, I'm going to get comfortable here. Let's talk for a second while I wait for the phone calls to come in. I remember so much conversation that was going on with this show years ago, way before people were talking about darkness and people were talking, the fake news and what ended up happening with Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and trolling and negativity and fighting and the sudden changes that we saw globally on this planet. And it was a social thing for sure, and it still is. It continues to this day. And it is global warming, and there's weird climate things going on. And think about the hurricane season we went through 2 years ago. It was just incredible. But I started to see a few things, and I didn't understand what was happening. I could see it. I could feel it. I could see it in the attitude of people that were around me, and myself both mentally and physically, and I just tested the waters. I tested a few things to confirm what was going on with what I was seeing. And it was a fascinating thing for me to go through. And the only way that I could deal with it was talk about it on the air. And I know that for many of you that remember what I was trying to say so many years ago and communicate what I was feeling. And we could go back to all of those original broadcasts where I was saying that You could take the news and flip it over 180 degrees and get closer to the truth. Well, that was 3 years before the fake news stuff. There was something that was happening, and that was just a small part of it. That was just a little sliver of it, but I was trying to communicate with everybody that there's something trippy happening here on this planet. And then physically, there was something physically that was happening to me. And I did a couple of trips with Rita where we were gone, for 3, 4, 5 days. And I disconnected from the internet. I didn't watch television. I didn't watch the news. I didn't do anything. And for those, 3, 4, 5 days, physically, I would go through a transition where I didn't feel like I was in a constant state of stunned. And my stomach always in knots, and I was always, my brain was just dealing with things. I was constantly, the only way that I could put it is I was stunned. I was always in this state of flux that I couldn't get rid of. But I would go and disconnect from the internet and email and news and television and all of that. I turned that off, literally and figuratively, turned it off, and I felt better. I would come back and turn on the TV or look at my news feed and suddenly go back into that stunned feeling. Stunned. Where, you're getting stunned by some crazy headline. You're getting stunned by an email. You're getting stunned by a post. You're getting stunned by somebody saying something and troll. It was like this bizarre thing. So I stopped doing it. I just stopped. And I decided to choose what I want to read. I want to choose my news. I want to choose it. I don't want it forced upon me. I choose who I interact with on social media. I choose what I want. I don't go and participate. I don't go and do that anymore. I don't go and engage. I just don't do it. When I say that I block or I mute, and block is your friend, there are reasons for that. And I figured out probably 10 years ago, maybe 15, actually probably closer to 20 years ago, about negativity and negative friends and negativity in my world. And I stopped engaging with people that I worked with and with friends that were negative because it freed me. It was like this weird, bizarre physical change that I went through. I didn't go to some spiritual healer or guide or some type of advice or go to a seminar. No, I didn't do any of that. I figured it out on my own. And the freedom that I got, and this was 1995, this is 25 years ago. The freedom that I got, and the only way that I can relate it to you, was that you're in a swimming pool and you've got water up to your neck. Your feet are on the bottom of the pool, right? But the water's up to your neck. And try to walk in the pool, right? Try to walk. You can't, right? And you're and you're in a pool. But then you get out of the pool and suddenly it was like that. That was the difference. You realize that the negativity, this stunned feeling, this thing where you're like in shock all the time and you're bogged down, you get rid of that and suddenly you're like, whoa, man. And that's what I went through. And I started to recognize this and not ignore it. not ignore it. I mean, Rita will tell you. Rita will tell, man, if I tell Rita, if she hears me say one more time, no more negativity, no negativity in our lives, no more negative, I say it all the time. Because there'll be something that'll come up during the day. It'll be some news headline. It'll be this, it'll be that, something. And that's always my response, and that's Kimberly is absolutely right. She's absolutely right. There's a total positive side to all of this, and it will win. Ultimately, in the end, we'll win. It's so funny where, excuse me, something in my throat. The show last night, all right, with a TTSA, and jumping online today or email, and I got a couple of texts and things where somebody wants to put a negative spin on that. Or that I'm not looking at, I'm not facing the reality of TTSA, and they want to tag that along with some negative comment or some spin on it with a negative. Dude, I just delete the email. Just delete it, and then mark it as spam, and you're done. I just don't. I need to go through and get stuff done today, like any day, and I move forward. I never take a step back. I just don't do it. I don't take a step back. I'm not going into your negative world. It's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not. And that is, that's my own. And so when I hear, you know what, if you're on hold, stay right there. Okay, everybody, just stay right there. If I'm in a conversation with somebody like Kimberly, where we are talking about these subjects, all she is doing is confirming that I'm right. That all the changes that I decided to do, which I did in a very natural and organic way, right? That I was right, and that I did the right thing. It's I feel bad for people that want to type something negative, to post something negative, to comment on somebody's thread in a negative way. I feel bad. I really do. I feel bad for those. Can you imagine the world that they are in? The world that they are in, that you have got to go and do something negative. That's a bad place, man. That's a bad house. That's a bad dinner. That's a bad conversation all day long. Or it's got to be negative. You have to say something negative. You have to approach life from a negative view. And I feel bad. Because they are walking around stunned. They're walking around that negative feeling in their stomach, and they don't know. And just cut it loose, man. Cut it loose. And if you try this, if you find yourself going negative, at all, right? Just do a day without it. A day without engaging with somebody negative. A day without saying something negative. A day without reading something negative. A day without Fox News. A day without CNN. A day without television. A day without reading a news feed. A day without all of that. And check yourself out at the end of the night. Check yourself out. You're going to go, man, I feel pretty good. I wonder why. Well, I just told you. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Laura from De Pere, Wisconsin.
Hi, Laura. How are you tonight?
I am great, and having Kimberly on was wonderful. She's been on my radar for years, and I'm just glad to hear it was a wonderful interview you had with her. And I'm just going to go off subject real quick. I just wanted to quickly say a positive thing. I think it's positive. I was tired of waiting for the information about the Tic Tacs. So a friend of mine, I only get bits and pieces, but I went to her because she's much stronger. And just the other day she said they were observation pods. And what they were doing was sampling air and atmosphere, and they were also looking at gases in the water. And she didn't even know if there were gases in water. And my husband's like, yeah, there are. He's a biology person.
Right.
And she said they're stainless steel-like in the interior. They can see out 360 degrees, but we can't see in. And they enjoy being seen, which I thought was quite funny. The bases are not on Earth. They like it cool, cold. It's a protective pod thing that they're in. The outside of the pod has a skin membrane that insulates to keep the instruments cold. And the military definitely knows about them. Hee hee, what a surprise.
Right.
But I just thought that was quite interesting. It's not like, ooh, we should all be afraid. Oh, look. I think they're just simply, checking things out.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And I would say, why not? Of course, right? Why not? Of course.
Yep.
What, Laura? Fantastic phone call. But let me flip it around. Let me ask you a question. Can I do that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What are we doing when we send a rover to Mars?
We are doing the exact same thing.
We're doing the exact same thing. What are we doing? We're digging in the dirt. Yeah. We're looking for gases. We're looking for gas. We're looking for minerals. We're looking for signs of life. We're trying to figure it out. We're looking for water. And we're looking for ice. We're looking for any. We're drilling. We're digging. We're taking pictures. We're checking it out, aren't we? We're doing the exact same thing.
Exactly.
So what's the big shocker if somebody is doing that with planet Earth? We're a pretty cool planet to go and check out, aren't we?
Absolutely. We are a beautiful planet. We need to take good care of it, and our water is so important. Bless my water every day.
Bless your water every day. If you were hanging out with another culture and another civilization, and you were living on Mars, and you're looking out of your telescope, you're looking at Earth, and it's blue and it's kind of cool, and you see the clouds and stuff. What's the first thing you're going to do when you have technology? You're going to check it out. You're going to go check it out, right?
Vacation.
I mean, it's absolutely what not only could be, but is going on. There is so much life out there in the Milky Way. There's so many, hundreds and hundreds of billions of planets in our own Milky Way. And I have no idea how much intelligent. I'm not talking about the universe. I'm talking about us, right? Our neighbors here in the Milky Way, that they're out there, more advanced than us, and they're sending probes out all across the Milky Way to go and check out Earths, right? That's what they're doing.
Exactly.
They have to be doing it because we're doing the exact same thing, aren't we, Laura?
Yes, we are.
Now, what did you, really quick, I wanted to ask you about Kimberly. When you hear a conversation like that, where she is somebody that is so awake, so connected, and so aware, how does that make you feel? Do you feel pretty good that we've got people like this out there trying to teach us about what's going on?
It's amazing, and there are others as well that have the abilities. They're just. I wish they were on CNN News every day. I'd like to help everybody be aware of this, and it's difficult. Even relatives, they're not awake quite yet, and it's very difficult to talk to them about these things. They almost have to experience it for themselves to understand it. I think it's happening more and more, though.
I do too. And I often wonder, again, I'm going to I'm interviewing you now. So welcome to Fade to Black. Here's the first time guest disclaimer. Is this, Laura, when Kimberly makes these references to God and Mother Mary and angels, and then we're dealing, with subjects like 5D and awakening and channelers, and intuitive. What do you think the religions of the world, and she even brought up, that she was, her mother was Catholic. I think it was her mother, her dad was Jewish. What do you think the Vatican has to say about somebody like Kimberly that makes a direct positive reference to God and Mother Mary, but also, thrive and awakening and this spiritual side of this that isn't necessarily religious, and then science as well. What do you think? What do you think the Vatican and other religions of the world have to say about this?
If you had them right now in front of you, and I think they would just completely agree and say, yes, indeed, she's over the history, we've had people like this, Benedictine. There was a nun that was canonized. I believe she was the fifth woman to be canonized. She had abilities just like that. And she was German. She invented beer, actually. It was fast hops. She's fascinating. I just heard about her at this psychotronics convention. So, yeah, I think they would completely just, explain it. Yes, indeed, the two are completely compatible, two beliefs.
Well,
see, the spiritual.
They can't be negative about it, because in order to be canonized, right, in order to have that ceremony, right, that very ceremony, there has to be a confirmed miracle, right? There has to be
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And usually that miracle...
She was able to do that.
Right,
Go ahead.
right. And those miracles are usually medical related.
Correct. She was one of the medical nurses, or whatever you would call it, during that century. So she did perform... she worked for the popes, and she worked for the royalty, and she worked with stones and herbs and channeled, and she got music, and on and on. So yes, there was evidence of her abilities. So it goes as far back as you can written language. So they're aware.
Yeah, it goes back to Jesus. It goes back to Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
It goes back to Jesus. And that's the part where we've all seen the different reverends and the stuff that goes down, and the healing that happens in different churches around the world. But when it comes to the New Age community and those out there that are like Kimberly, where they want to say that this is against the Bible, this is against religion, this isn't cool, and they want to bag on the New Age community. That's where I think they're being a little bit hypocritical, because you can't turn around and say that the writings in the Bible that speak about this specific subject, and when you have Moses on the top of a mountain communicating with something in the sky, and he's channeling. Is he not channeling? Right? Every book in the Bible, every book in the Bible was channeled.
Yep.
Right? I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's changing. I can see it with the younger people coming up. There's they're awake. They know they just know. They know about you. You don't have to explain it to them. So I'm seeing it, and so I think everything's going to be getting better and better.
I agree. I remember I would get when I would say I've got flowers hanging out of my pockets. Things are going to be okay, right? Things are going to be fine. And I would get these emails. You know what, Jimmy? Man, you don't see the world for what it really is. You don't get it, man. You've got to stop it, man. You are, and it would, call me names. And I would read this stuff, and I was like, you know what? That's not who I am. And you're not going to get me to put a negative spin on life, because that's not how I view life. I recognize bad people. I recognize war. I recognize starving families and things, I'm not stupid, but I know that we are going to grow up and mature, and that this is eventually going to be a perfectly cool place. We will always have our bad actors. That's part of life. That's part of life. But that's not who I am, and I'm not going to be. Do you ever get tired? Laura, I've got to run credits and end the show. But do you ever get tired of talking heads and show hosts out there that do nothing but talk fear and talk hate and are constantly, in your face with that?
Yeah, but what I've learned to do, because I'm trying to get more to that fifth dimension, I've learned to call it something, and we call it contrast now at our house. So when we see that, we just say, oh, that's just simply contrast, to show us that that's the opposite, that's the other, and just accept it, just kind of let it go through you, and oh, look at that contrast happening there. That's what we do at our house.
Yeah, Laura, thank you for that. Yep. I just wrote it down. I just held it up to the camera right there. Contrast.
Contrast. Yeah.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt. I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says contrast. That's pretty cool.
You have a good night, Jimmy.
Yeah, you too. You too. Really quick, I meant to ask you, what part of Wisconsin are you in?
It's De Pere, but it's just considered Green Bay.
Oh, you're up in Green Bay. Okay. I'm from that part of the world, so
yes, I know. I know.
I have to talk about, I have to ask. I just miss it, right? So I'm living Wisconsin and Northern Illinois vicariously right now through you, and I thank you for that. Thank you for the call.
You're welcome. Welcome. Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Great. And great phone call right there. And that's exactly everything that Laura just said is exactly what I've been trying to refer to, that there are a lot of people that are walking around that get it. Laura gets it. And the more that we do this show, and the more that we just move along one day at a time, tomorrow night will be another show, and next week, and the more that we do this, the better off that we're going to be. That's it. We're all going to get out of the swimming pool together. Just that whole big tank of... I remember I said to somebody once, this is a while ago. This is probably 25 years ago. And I turned to one of my friends, and I said, man, I feel like I'm in a big tank of molasses, and I just crawled out of it. And that was, it was like an awakening moment that I was going through. A big tank of molasses. And it just came out of my mouth. Never heard anybody say it, never read it. It just came out of my mouth because I started to go through it. I started to feel it. Man, I started to feel it. And once you start to cut that luggage, that baggage off of you, and then you kind of look back and go through it for about 3-4 months, and then look back at your life 3 months before and where you are now. And it's a day-to-day thing. It's day-to-day. But once you just string a bunch of those days together and look back and you go, wow, I am different. Yeah, that's me. That's my ticket. It's my ticket. Tomorrow night is Fader night. Open lines all night long. And yeah, you know what I'm going to say next. It is my favorite night of the week, hanging out with all of you. Tomorrow night's going to be great. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Patoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. It's broadcast owned and copyrighted 2019 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night is Fader Night. Open lines all night long. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.